There comes a point in every man's life where he meets someone who doesn't give him what he craves most: connection, warmth, or validation. It could be a woman who seems distant, emotionally unavailable, or hard to read. For many men, that moment creates doubt, insecurity, and frustration. But for the man who understands his power, who understands his frame, it becomes a test not of her behavior, but of his strength. A Stoic man knows that he cannot control what she feels, but he can always control how he responds. That is where true mastery begins. Most men try to chase, convince, or beg for affection. They fall into a trap of losing themselves, thinking if they do more, say more, or prove more, she will finally open up. But a Stoic man understands that desperation repels and groundedness attracts. He knows that his value does not rise or fall based on how distant or close a woman may be. His worth is not defined by someone else's attention, but by the discipline and power he cultivates within himself. This is the foundation of masculine frame, the unshakable center that refuses to collapse under emotional storms. And if you're ready to embrace that mindset, then I want you to stay with me until the end, because this will change how you see, not just women, but yourself. Subscribe our channel Next-Gen for more insights like this, and join the movement of men committed to self-mastery. Now let's go deeper. A Stoic man doesn't ignore emotions. He acknowledges them. He feels the pull of frustration, the sting of rejection, the confusion of mixed signals. But instead of reacting, he pauses. He breathes. He remembers that emotions are signals, not commands. Just because he feels them does not mean he has to obey them. In that pause lies his strength. While most men collapse under pressure, he stands tall, observing instead of absorbing, choosing instead of chasing. This is the very essence of Stoicism, applied to relationships. You are not meant to be a slave to the behavior of others. You are meant to be the master of your own responses. Consider the image of a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. Waves crash against it, winds howl, and yet it remains unmoved. That is masculine frame. When a woman is emotionally distant, she may be testing, protecting herself, or simply lost in her own battles. But your role is not to beg her to change. Your role is to stand as the lighthouse, strong, consistent, and calm. If she chooses to draw closer, it will be because she feels the stability you radiate. If she does not, you remain unshaken, because your value does not diminish in her absence. That mindset transforms frustration into freedom. This is where many men misunderstand masculine energy. They think being stoic means being cold, unfeeling, or detached. But true stoicism is not about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering it. It's about leading yourself first, so that others naturally follow your energy. When a woman feels distance, she looks for strength. She wants to know, can this man handle pressure? Can he stay grounded when I pull away? Will he lose himself if I don't give him what he craves? If your answer is to remain calm, focused, and centered, then you pass the test without ever saying a word. And here's the truth. Women are drawn to men who don't need them to feel complete. Neediness is weakness, but presence is power. If she feels distant, use that space as an opportunity, not to chase her, but to invest in yourself. Build your body, sharpen your mind, elevate your mission. Become so focused on your growth that her distance no longer feels like rejection, but like a reminder that your path has always been about you first. This is not selfishness, it is self-respect. A man who prioritizes his purpose will never beg for someone's attention, because his energy is already directed toward building, leading, and conquering. Imagine the difference between two men. One is frantic, texting constantly, overthinking every silence, fearing abandonment. The other notices the same distance, but instead of panicking, he goes to the gym, works on his craft, builds his empire, and radiates calm confidence. Which man do you think she feels magnetized toward? It's not about manipulation, it's about energy. Strength attracts, weakness repels. A Stoic man understands this at his core. But here's where the real mastery lies. Masculine frame is not just about how you deal with her, it's about how you deal with yourself. Every moment of emotional resistance is an invitation to grow. Every silence is an opportunity to reflect. Every withdrawal is a test of whether you will stand strong or crumble. And the Stoic man, the man of mastery, uses these moments as fuel. He embraces them as training grounds for his character. He refuses to let temporary distance define his long-term worth. So what should you do when faced with an emotionally distant woman? First, breathe. Do not rush to fix, to chase, or to demand. Second, observe. Ask yourself if her distance is about her, about you, or about circumstances beyond either of your control. Third, act with strength. Maintain your frame, stay aligned with your purpose, and never allow her energy to dictate your value. If she returns, she will return to a man who stands strong. If she does not, you remain whole, unbroken, and powerful. Gentlemen, life will always test you, sometimes through circumstances, sometimes through people, and often through relationships. The lesson is always the same. Never let external storms collapse your internal strength. A Stoic man is not moved by the temporary waves of emotion. He is anchored by discipline, purpose, and self-mastery. And that is why women, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to men who embody this energy. Because deep down, every person craves stability in a world full of chaos. So today, choose to be that man. Choose to master yourself, rather than chase what you cannot control. Choose to stand firm when others withdraw. Choose to be the lighthouse, not the lost ship. If you do this, not only will you transform your relationships, but you will transform your life. The world needs men who are strong, grounded, and unshakable. Be one of them. Rise into your power, hold your frame, and never forget that your worth is unmovable, unstoppable, undeniable. That is masculine frame mastery. And that, my brothers, is how a Stoic man handles an emotionally distant woman, with strength, with presence, and with unshakable self-respect.